Starting. Starting. Perfect. Okay. So we are live on YouTube as well. Okay, great. Perfect. So shall we start? Or, well, let's wait 1 more minute.
Yeah, let's wait a minute maybe so that then everyone can like join.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting at like 6 p.m. sharp is pretty much impossible. So
yeah,
let's give people time to join. Alice, maybe we can post it also in the like announcement channel, right? So that some other people can see it, because maybe not everyone is reading, you know, the main community channel all the times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Okay, so 1 sec. Let me get the link for YouTube.
Alice, maybe we can post it also in the like announcement channel, right?
Yes. Okay. So I just quit Telegram. So let me open it again. And okay, Telegram. Okay, posted. And I will now quit again.
Thanks, Alice. Yeah, I think we can start, right?
Yes, let's start.
Yeah, let's get started.
Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone for joining us for this community call. And I mean, thanks for being here with us to discuss pNetwork. And today we are happy to have our guest, Jeremy from Pirion DAO, who is a community project working on setting up a community-owned pNetwork node. So we will hear more from Jeremy during this call, who will also share his thoughts about pNetwork and, you know, as a community member, what he thinks about what we are doing and what he likes about the project. And yeah, just to have, you know, a feeling of what the community thinks about the project and what they would like to see. So let's start with a short recap of all of the achievements that the project has achieved during the last couple of months. So I am Alice, and I work on business development and operations for pNetwork in terms of growing the ecosystem. That's pretty much what part of what I do. So in terms of growing the ecosystem, we have worked on a series of new releases and collaborations with other projects that are focused on increasing the number, the total value locked for pNetwork, as well as adoption in general. One way to measure it is in terms of cross-chain transaction volumes, but there are other ways as well. So like, for example, number of users, number of P tokens holders, and things like that. So I'm happy to report that our numbers are growing, and we, as a project, we have experienced a significant growth over the past 3 and 6 months. Specifically, during the last month, pNetwork nodes were able to get $90,000 in cross-chain transaction fees that were again collected thanks to cross-chain transaction volumes processed by pNetwork, and afterwards, those fees were distributed to pNetwork nodes. So great achievement for pNetwork nodes there. And also that's a clear way showing that the project is expanding and growing. In terms of expansion, we are indeed, we have released new cross-chain integrations. At the moment, we are integrated with 10 different blockchains. Two of the latest ones that we have introduced are Binance Smart Chain and Polygon. So we have, after the release, we have worked on growing those networks. So one thing that we did is collaborating with a few big projects, creating incentivized liquidity pools. This means that people are able to basically include their assets. Let's take, for example, PBTC on Binance Smart Chain, so tokenized Bitcoin on BSC. They're able to put it into the liquidity pools and get rewards for that. So on this, we have, for example, collaborated with PancakeSwap on BSC, with ComeSwap, with Smart DEX. So we are hoping through this strategy to grow P tokens on those chains even further. Same as we did previously with other blockchains, including Ethereum and EOS, for example. So something else that we worked on in parallel to grow pNetwork is collaborating with smaller projects on custom bridges. So that's the case, for example, of OpenDAO or Chain Guardians. We have collaborated with their teams on the release of specific bridges for their token to go cross-chain. And that, again, has proven successful because some of these tokens have contributed into growing pNetwork's total value locked, have contributed into growing our cross-chain transaction volumes. So, for example, Chain Guardians is one of those. And we have, during our last fees distribution for pNetwork nodes, we have indeed distributed CGG tokens coming from that specific bridge. So we are happy that to see that this collaboration are helping to grow pNetwork as an ecosystem. Something else that one of our collaboration has brought to is having P tokens, a P tokens bridge from KuCoin to Ethereum. That's basically thanks to our collaboration with Telos. So as you may know, Telos is a sidechain of EOS, and they have been recently listed on KuCoin, but the token that has been listed there is actually the P tokens version. So this means that we do have the first P tokens bridge from KuCoin to Ethereum. As some of you may remember, that's something that we did with Bitfinex as well for a bunch of tokens, including Pnt, some time ago. So we are happy to have now our second exchange supporting P tokens bridges. So on another topic, another key milestone that we have achieved during the past couple of months is the launch of the first NFT portal. So pNetwork portals enable cross-chain interactions between smart contracts. So it's a feature built on top of P tokens bridges that anyone can leverage to build a pNetwork portal. And that can be done in a variety of fields, including DeFi, including NFTs. So for example, we ourselves have launched the first NFT portal that connects NFTs between Ethereum and the Binance Smart Chain. So as you may know, these are two of the biggest smart contract enabled blockchains. So we felt like this was a good opportunity to be leveraged. Also, considering the current ecosystem we are living in as an industry, where NFTs are getting more and more interesting. So we thought this could be a good opportunity for pNetwork to get more visibility and also to offer something useful to the NFTs ecosystem. So again, we have collaborated with Chain Guardians on an NFT portal for the Chain Guardian NFTs that are now available also on BSC through pNetwork. With the goal of making cross-chain movements friendlier for the end user and simpler to process, we have also launched version 2 of our DApp, of our pTokens DApp. So now you will see the interface is completely new and remade, is much simpler. It's Uniswap-like. So again, we think that this should improve the user experience for whoever wants to use pTokens or pNetwork portals. They can access from one single panel and do whatever they like cross-chain from there. So slightly changing topic, I'm happy to report that Edu Card is officially shipping. So we have a few users that have received the Edu Card already. Thomas is one of them, proudly showing his Edu Card. So Edu Card, for those of you who don't know it, it's a very cool DeFi card. It's developed on layer 2 for conveniency, and it's what I like to call a next generation crypto card, because it basically sticks to the decentralized finance philosophy, in the sense that it lets users stay in control of their funds until the last mile. So it's very nice. It's now shipping. It's integrated with pTokens. So from there, you can spend PNT, you can spend pTokens. At the moment, we have PBTC and PLTC, as well as a couple of stable coins. So yeah, try it, order it, and let us know if you like it. I'm waiting for mine to arrive. So hopefully it will arrive this week and I will report back on how's the experience. But yeah. And also, I mean, if you guys want to share your experience about the Edu Card here or in our Telegram channel or on social media, feel free to do it, and let's spread the word about it so that more and more people will get to know the project. And finally, last but not least, another important milestone has been reached for pNetwork. This time is important for our progressive decentralization process. And specifically, we have introduced fee-earning pNetwork nodes. So as you guys may know, we had introduced the pNetwork nodes, so moving a step forward in our progressive decentralization roadmap in December last year. And recently, we have introduced fee-earning pNetwork nodes, which means that basically nodes get rewarded for the important contribution they give to the project, since they are a key role that helps the project to be decentralized and also to secure the cross-chain interaction. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this, they are being rewarded pretty well, since they made 90K over the past month. So that's great for them. And hopefully we will see more pNetwork nodes joining to expand the network, as well as more fees being accrued thanks to a growth in cross-chain volumes. So on this note, I will introduce today's guest, who is Jeremy from Pirion DAO. So here's to you, Jeremy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy, founder of Purion. I'm here today to talk about our collaboration with pNetwork. Purion essentially is a staking service that's owned and operated by a DAO, Purion DAO. And Purion DAO governs all the pools in the ecosystem, as well as ION token issuance. So when you're staked in any of the pools in Purion ecosystem, you're actually earning ION. So like the Pnt node pool, you're actually earning a lot more rewards than most may realize. So you earn the native node rewards, which is 0.25% peg out fees, 0.05% portal fees, and then you're also earning pNetwork DAO rewards, which is 42% right now, and it's going to be soon changing to 21%. So basically, when those are the native node rewards, and then on top of that, you earn ION, and that opens you up to a whole nother set of rewards. So when you earn that ION in the Pnt node pool, you actually stake that back into the Purion DAO, and you earn three things. You earn 50% APY compounded monthly. You earn governance power, proportional governance power. And then you also are exposed to a diverse asset pool. This diverse asset pool is comprised of all the fees that Purion collects for all the different pools. So like for the Pnt node pool, Purion takes 10% of those fees to cover the overhead for the node to maintain it. And then the remainder of it actually goes into the Purion DAO. So as a Pnt node pool member, you actually earn part of the fees back that Purion takes from being staked in the Purion DAO. Then on top of that, all the other pools that Purion takes a 10% fee from. So for instance, we have an X-Day validator stake pool. So when Purion takes fees from there, it goes into the Purion DAO. And then as a Pnt node pool member, you earn those Pnt fees back, and then you also earn the fees collected from the other pools. So like the stake pool. So what this does is helps to diversify your portfolio and helps protect you against market volatility. And the way we look at it as nodes and validators, we look at it as a hedge against market volatility. So when you're actually owning or co-owning a node, you're not so concerned about the price going up or down, because no matter what, you're going to be earning one way or another. And it's actually really interesting for pNetwork, because if you go to pNetwork.watch, that has all the node rewards, has all the node data. You can actually see from this recent market plummet that pNetwork nodes have actually earned more than they ever have. And this is from the peg out fees. So this is something from owning or co-owning a pNetwork node, this is something you have to look forward to. So not only do you gain value if the market goes up in general, but then you also have to look forward to, if the market drops, now you have, this big peg out payday coming from owning or co-owning this node. So if you are looking to support pNetwork in a more meaningful way and for the long term, and you also want to protect yourself against market volatility, owning or co-owning a pNetwork node is the best bet. It's the best way to go. And this kind of leads into just an idea that I know has been proposed already to lower the Pnt node, the pNetwork threshold to become a node. And I think that we should maybe visit it again and kind of discuss it. And I actually saw someone in the recent proposal that Thomas posted, that someone actually said something very similar, that I was surprised that I saw it on there, that they were talking about lowering the threshold to like 100,000 Pnt. Because currently the Pnt node pool actually has over 100,000 Pnt staked in it. We're more than halfway there to reach the 200,000 goal. But if we were to say lower it to 100,000, we would already be there. We would already be able to add a node, which would continue for the progressive decentralization, and then also added security. And then we would be able to start up another node pool and give more community members a chance to participate in this. So I would just like to know maybe your thoughts on this, Thomas.
Yeah, this is a really interesting point, because we have proposed we made a proposal like a few months ago for lowering this threshold, and indeed it didn't pass. But now it may be a good time to propose it again, because I know that even back then it was very controversial. So it wasn't that the majority was against. It was just very close to the 50% threshold or something like that. And I remember, if I remember correctly, there were not enough votes in favor to have the proposal pass. We didn't reach quorum, basically. So I'm all for it. I would just like to see the community voicing a stronger interest for proposing that vote again. And I mean, from my perspective, the proposal we have just submitted on the forum for community discussion is something that is like a higher priority for discussion, and that maybe we can dive into this later. But lowering the limit from 200,000 to 100,000 for nodes is something that may be proposed next in the DAO. And personally, I didn't vote, and our company with company tokens didn't vote. And normally we never vote because we don't want to influence votes, even if we don't have the majority actually. But we don't want the community to perceive like the team has a strong influence on the actual results of the voting proposals. So the fact that it was so controversial, that the old proposal was so controversial, to me was very valuable, because it meant that people are actually trying to think about the implications, and not everyone agreed with the vote, and they were not afraid to vote against, right? So this is something important. So in general, I just wanted to start with maybe asking you some more questions around Ethereum, something that I'm not sure I fully understand, so maybe it would be useful to hear it from you, is is a doubt I have around governance. So there are basically two kinds of tokens, right? One is the ION token, which is the one that basically participants into the DAO while providing liquidity, such as PNT, right? So this is the ION farming, let's say. And then there is the, I don't know how to call it, the IOU token for the PNTs you have deposited. If I deposit a given number of PNT, I get basically a receipt saying, look, you have deposited X. So, you can redeem it back for the original PNT, maybe, if the DAO agrees, right? So as for governance, let's say if I stake 1,000 PNT, does the ION token give me the ability, for example, to propose starting a new pool, or is it about opening voting proposals? Which one, what token serves what purpose? What is ION exactly for? Is it just for getting a chunk of the fees accrued from the other pools, such as the XDAI one, or is it more for the governance of all pools, or for the governance of new initiatives around the Ethereum DAO in general?
Okay, yeah. So when you stake PNT in the pool, you get a proportional, non-transferable pool share. So it's not technically a token in that sense. It's more of a non-transferable pool share that then says, you put this much PNT in, so now you get this many shares, which will represent the amount of PNT you put into the pool. And then when you stake, you earn ION on top of that. And then the ION's main purpose is to stake it, so you have the PNT pool, and that PNT pool has its own DAO. It's governed by its own DAO, and the power in the PNT node pool is based on the shares. So it's based on the pool shares, a one-to-one representation of the PNT. And then when you have ION, you stake that in a separate Pirion DAO, and that gives you governance power over, so that gives you a reward share of the fees, and it also gives you governance power over future initiatives. And so basically, it's a shared treasury of ION, where basically we decide on future initiatives, and then ION is used to stream into the different pools as rewards, as like farming rewards. And that's basically the purpose of the pool shares, and then the ION tokens that you would gain from that pool.
I'm curious. Yeah, thanks for explaining that. This was really useful. Can you maybe like share some more details around like your experience with the XDAI pool, since that one seems to be more advanced and the milestones have been reached, while in the pNetwork ones, it's 55 or 60%, if I remember correctly. So it's growing, but it hasn't reached yet the minimum threshold, while with the XDAI ones you have. So how is it going?
So it's going good. We are still waiting there. So XDAI is currently updating their threshold. So they currently have a 20,000 stake threshold. They're actually lowering their threshold to 2,000. We have now well over 5,000 already staked, so we are ready. But the validator is not up yet. It should be this week or next week, the latest. I'm talking with the team, basically every day about it. But yeah, I mean, it's basically the same kind of scenario. You put in one stake, you get one pool share, and then you earn ION as well. So it is basically still in the same kind of state as pNetwork, still waiting to launch the validator, since what we did, reach the requirement. But yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to see those nodes running as well. And yeah, sorry, I had a question, but I just forgot. So in general, how many like users have participated so far, like unique users in the two initiatives? Like in the XDAI one, did you get like more smaller participants or some bigger ones? And do you have any number you can share around the number of users that are interacting with the Ethereum DAO and with the two active pools?
Yeah, so there's actually in like both pools, I'm pretty sure has like 20 to 30 different members. And in both pools, there are some small stakes. So in the PNT pool, it's a minimum of 100 PNT. 100 PNT you can put in and you can co-own one of these nodes. And then there's also someone just recently put 50,000 PNT in one shot. So,
so there's a lot of variance like between the different
exactly. Yeah, and it's just we're trying to appeal to all levels of investors. Whether you're a small investor, or a large investor, we are here to offer some solutions, so that way we can. Because our focus is to help support the underlying infrastructure of the projects that we believe in, like pNetwork, and we want to add more security. We want to help with the decentralization. That is our focus. And at the same time, we want to offer people, a hedge against normal investments, like in just investing in assets and holding it, or even just staking it for some APY. It's still different when you're owning this pNetwork node. You're guaranteeing yourself you're going to consistently stay earning while your PNT is locked and safe. So you still have your underlying collateral that's still going to be sitting there and accruing value over time, while you're also then continuing to earn off of this node. So it's like if you want to support pNetwork, and anyone out there who's really looking to, this is one of the best ways to do it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, being able to contribute to spinning up a full node for the pNetwork with just 100 PNT is is really amazing. I know that many users actually they are concerned, understandably, with the gas costs of interacting with the pNetwork DAO, because maybe they don't have enough PNT to justify that investment or that cost. Right. But in this case, everything is basically being done on the XDAI blockchain, so you don't really have high gas costs to interact with it. And indeed, one question I wanted to ask you, to give you the opportunity to explain to the community how that part works, is how maybe if you can dive a little bit into the details of interacting with the DAO via XDAI, I know it will be useful, because I've seen some questions from the community where people were a bit concerned of having to switch blockchain because they were not super familiar with that, right? Maybe in some cases they mostly use Ethereum and they didn't really know what they had to do in order to interact with Ethereum, since it was on a different blockchain. But since it can attract, and it wants to attract all kind of users, including small ones, being on a chain which is so cheap compared to Ethereum is definitely something that makes sense. So maybe can you say something about that?
Yeah, sure. So, you know, XDAI is an EVM, an Ethereum virtual machine compatible blockchain. So that means you can just use your MetaMask. You just change the RPC to XDAI, and which is very simple. The instructions are on Pyrion as well for anyone interested. But you can use your MetaMask. You just simply change the network to XDAI on your MetaMask, and now you're able to interact with XDAI chain. And they even have faucets available to get free XDAI for transaction fees. Now, it sounds a little crazy for anyone who's used to Ethereum fees, but on an XDAI, it literally costs like 0.0001 of a dollar. So like you're talking about fractions of a cent to transact here. So this is why we chose XDAI. Because for all the governance, for voting, and, you know, for doing all the DAO activities, it can get expensive. You know, anyone on Ethereum knows that. And this is why we chose XDAI for that reason, because it makes governance, you know, more viable.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, I think this is like a great example I want to reference a bit later in the call, when I will dive a little bit into the Edu Card as well, because in that case we chose to go with we had chosen to go with Loopring for the exact same reason. But 1 year ago, like there were no layer 2s that were you know, convincing enough back then, or that had enough traction to choose other than Loopring. And, you know, differently than Pyrion, with the Edu Card, we just need to do transfers. So it's a much simpler use case and doesn't need a fully fledged, you know, EVM compatible blockchain, let's say, similarly to XDAI. So in your case, it totally made sense, you know, since you need the DAO and to have voting interactions and more complex stuff going, to, you know, have something like XDAI. So I totally understand and support you know, this choice you guys made. It just makes sense. Yeah. Excellent. Cool. Can you maybe like let's change topic and maybe focus a little bit on the proposal we have just sent the forum for discussion. I just wanted to know what was your opinion about that. Maybe let me first, for anyone who is listening, just very briefly summarize it. So the problem, or like the point open for discussion, is the following: that basically, as Jeremy was reminding everyone, like the pNetwork DAO reward for voters is actually decreasing from 42% to 21% in a couple of months, right? So the first year it was planned to be at 42%, and then second year 21%, and then 0. Why? Because basically it was supposed to be an initial like incentive to motivate people to put PNT tokens at stake in the DAO and to get involved with DAO governance voting and to familiarize themselves with the process and to you know, follow the project and engage with the community while voting, in order to vote and to know what they are voting for or against, right? I think this worked out quite nicely. We have approximately 1,000 people participating with the DAO, and you know, many of them use the Edu wallet, some don't, but it can be used directly via MetaMask. So, you know, anyone can basically use it. Now, the proposal is about anticipating the reduction of this 42% reward to 21% a couple of months in advance. So in a way, it's sort of we are sort of asking people in the like community members and the DAO stakers to give up some rewards, which may seem counterintuitive. Why would you vote for, earning less fees, sorry, not less fees, but less rewards? It doesn't make sense, right? But there is a reasoning, and the reasoning is that the tokens that basically don't get distributed, the Pnt tokens that don't get distributed they get allocated to the pNetwork DAO treasury. So they are still community governed tokens. They are simply not distributed out to the community in that manner. So the vote is about basically reducing early this 42% to 21%, which practically speaking, if you do the proportion and everything, if you do the math, you will see that it's just a matter of giving up 3.5% of what you have at stake in the DAO. So it's not that much. But the DAO treasury would actually benefit from it by having at its disposal more than 1.5 million Pnt tokens, which is quite a lot. So this is a high number, which the DAO then could use, for example, to allocate those funds for other initiatives, such as the liquidity pools farming initiatives, just to give an example. The proposal indeed is not just about that, it's also about other 2 points. One is stopping to give rewards for liquidity pools, like farming rewards, to liquidity pools that are not being very successful, such as the PLTC ETH1 on Uniswap. Like there is a pool, Litecoin, P tokenized Litecoins, and ETH on Uniswap that we are currently rewarding. However, it hasn't really been really successful compared to others we are incentivizing, such as the Curve1 and a few others, because if you look at the total value locked in Litecoins within the pNetwork is rather small, and also the volumes in that pool are rather small. So basically, the DAO is giving up 15,000 Pnt per week. So we are giving up basically 60,000 Pnt every month for a liquidity pool, which is not being very successful. So the idea is basically to stop that reward as well, so that the DAO treasury can benefit from it and have 60,000 extra Pnt every month to allocate differently. For example, to other pools, to new pools, or maybe to increase the reward for pools that we are already rewarding. Just to give an example. So the third point, which I think is really important, is to stop rewarding voters that are not participating to voting proposals. Right now, the logic of distribution of the rewards is based on the fact that for every epoch, and an epoch is like a 2 weeks period, there may be more voting proposals submitted. And basically, in order to enable people to skip a vote if they don't know what they want to vote, or to avoid watching it on a daily basis, let's say, initially we thought it was a good idea, basically to reward everyone who voted in proposals within the epoch other than one. So you could skip one. So for example, if there is one vote in the epoch, everyone in the DAO gets currently is getting a reward from the DAO regardless of their participation to the vote. Even if they don't vote, they will still get the reward. Now, if you have 2 votes within the same epoch, for example, everyone who casts at least 1 vote will get the reward. Who doesn't vote to neither one or the other basically doesn't get anything. So you must vote at least 1 vote. Now, the proposal is about stopping to give this to do this exception, and basically force everyone who wants to get a reward to always participate for voting. Why? Because for the last 10 months, what we have seen is that normally, because of gas costs and other reasons, we never had more than 1 vote per epoch, for every epoch. So it doesn't make much sense to have this logic in, and it's rewarding DAO stakers who don't participate to governance. So we want to force everyone who participates in the DAO to basically vote and participate to governance, because this is what this is basically a healthy behavior for community members, and this is what should be rewarded, not just the simple staking, but also, you know, staking and voting all the times. So the proposal is about basically restructuring a little bit those incentives in order for the DAO treasury to benefit from it and have more funds at disposal to you know, fund new initiatives, basically. And I think this is a very important vote, and people should that you know, participating in pNetwork should not just look at their own pocket. And you know, because what we are asking, what we are proposing the community to give up is just 3% reward one-off, basically, which is rather a small incentive compared to the numbers we normally talk about, right? But you know, this is about socializing a very small loss in order for the wider DAO, for the pNetwork DAO, to benefit from it. So it's basically a vote where you should be altruistic a little bit and think about what's good for the community as a whole, what's good for the DAO, and not just for your pocket, right? So we have submitted a proposal into the forum explaining all this, so you can read it at forum.p.network. And you know, we are like eager to know what the community thinks. So if you have any feedback or if you want to change something in the proposal, this is the moment to do it. We want to submit it for you know, in the DAO for voting, but first we want to see if anyone has ideas or if anyone wants to reiterate or change something in the proposal before the submission. And you know, it's just an open discussion. Even if it doesn't pass, everything will be fine, right? It's just that the DAO maybe in the future may not have enough funds to, you know, to fund some other farming initiatives or things like that. And since Jeremy is so much into like our community and is an active participant, I wanted to know what was his take and what was his opinion around that proposal, and if he had any feedback to share or any idea on what he would change within that proposal, or a totally different proposal around the same topic.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I'm pretty much agreeing with, you know, everything that you proposed. I mean, I think it's fine to cut it short 2 months, you know, just so that way we have, you know, more PNT available to, you know, create, you know, more liquidity initiatives. And I think that's very important for PNT and P tokens. And I think it's smart to trim the fat off of, you know, the other pools that, you know, aren't performing well. I think that makes sense. And I mean, I'm definitely also for, you know, forcing people to be more active and participate in the DAO. I think that is something vital to build a strong foundation for a community, you know. And it's kind of interesting because I've noticed that there's like a split in the pNetwork community. There's PNT holders, and then there's like P token users. And I think that we need to think of some ways to kind of bring those two sides together on a united front. And I think, you know, starting to force people to be, you know, more active and participate in the DAO, I think that's a good step in the right direction.
Thanks for saying that, because this is exactly like, this is a very interesting point, and I wanted to share some numbers around the number of P tokens users, since we are now like tracking it. So if you look on pNetwork.watch, you can see that the total number of users, which is calculated as the total number of unique addresses on the different blockchains we support that hold like P tokens. Not PNT. This doesn't include PNT holders. This is just P tokens users across different blockchains. In total, we have more than 41,000 number of users, while the active users, which we define as like the number of users which hold P tokens and has made transactions in the last day. So I know that normally you calculate, you know, active users over like longer period, just 2 weeks or something like that. And I already got some like people asking if we could track also that. But you know, if you just look at the basically users active in the last day, in the last 24 hours, it has been 1.4 thousand, so 1,400 users. And these are the numbers we want to track for to monitor the adoption of the P tokens. But Pnt tokens, token holders, is something completely different. And as Jeremy is saying, it would be nice to see, more Pnt holders using P tokens, but also maybe even more P tokens users using Pnt. And I think it's really nice. And actually, it was a very a topic we discussed for a very long time. It's very interesting and important, in my opinion, that you are not forced as a P tokens user to hold Pnt. It's just an option. It's not mandatory. So it's very important that the two things are optional and that they are not forced to go together. But at the same time, I think that initiatives such as the Edu Card, for instance, that now is shipping, that I was mentioning earlier, are really interesting operations that we are proposing and activities where basically the adoption of P tokens is improved, because basically the utility of P tokens is improved because you can use a non-custodial card with tokens that belong to other chains, right? While staying on a single chain which is connected to the card, such as Ethereum, since it's based on Loopring. But at the same time, with things like the Edu Card, as you will see also with the a revision of the cashback program that we'll publish in the next few days, we are more and more increasing the interconnection of Pnt token holders and P tokens users, because basically if you have Pnt at stake into the DAO, you also get higher cashback, for instance, from the Edu Card usage, which may be done via P token. So for instance, you may spend PBTC if you want to spend Bitcoins via your debit card. You can do it with PBTC, P tokens BTC. And if you have at stake Pnt within the pNetwork DAO and you have enough, then you will get a cashback in Pnt tokens and in other tokens, as you will see in the next few days, depending on that. So it's basically an incentive which is connected with Pnt holding, which is not mandatory, but it helps in case you are interested to have a higher cashback. So it goes in that direction, the direction that Jeremy was just talking about. And I think it's just another initiative to obtain something very similar, like an overlapping. And I think that actually Pnt, especially if it gets stronger and stronger as a token, as we all hope, basically if Pnt will go up, increase in value and get more visibility, it's very likely that it will incentivize people to use P tokens and the pNetwork more. And at the same time, if pNetwork and P tokens get more traction and get more used, there is a stronger incentive to become a Pnt token holder, because basically it's more profitable, for example, to get your chunk, your small portion of a node, maybe via Ethereum DAO, and you can actually use your Pnt to get a part of the fees that the network is accruing. So things are sort of interconnected. It's nice, in my opinion, that you are not forced to use both if you don't care, but you can, and you benefit from it if you do.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I mean, in general, what you were saying, Jeremy, about having, two separate communities, one of users and one of Pnt holders. I mean, we are trying to basically merge these two communities so that one becomes the other. One initiative that we are doing is the Edu Card that Thomas mentioned, but also, for example, on PancakeSwap, we had a long discussion also with the PancakeSwap team about launching the Pnt Liquidity Pool, because, I mean, the standard way would have been to launch Pnt BNB, but in the end, what we launched is Pnt PBTC. So, of course, that was actually the very first pool that was launched with a base token that was not BNB or BUSD, but was actually PBTC. And in that case, I mean, we decided to go this way because, again, because of the reason that you were saying. So we thought that this way we could try and go in the direction of merging these two communities and let Pnt holders be aware of P tokens as well, and same as the opposite. So we would get basically the PancakeSwap community to also be aware of PNT and what P tokens does. So yeah, I mean, I agree that that's definitely one point that we should work on and improve on. So yeah. While
excellent.
in general, I mean, I think that the community also has some valid points and questions on this. So I wanted to read something that the people were asking or commenting. So we have a few questions for Jeremy, actually. So one question is, hi, Jeremy, I am for the proposal. Do you think to stay, do you think you're going to stay on XDAI blockchain, or maybe you will add other blockchains as a Perion pool?
For right now, our plans are to stay on XDAI, but we are exploring other projects that we may be forced to be on a different blockchain. But as of right now, we are just staying on XDAI, just simply because of the low cost transactions and it's stable, stable transactions. So
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that Ethereum gas fees are too volatile, and
yeah.
So I think we already briefly answered this, but what's the gain in running nodes? If someone wants to.
Yeah, maybe Jeremy, maybe you want to answer, since you basically answered to that question earlier.
I just want to say 130% APY currently.
Yeah, that's a short summary. A short summary of it.
So yeah, I mean, the benefit of owning or co-owning a node, there's a lot of benefits, besides, it just depends on, what you're most interested in. If you're interested in profits, then there's plenty of ways that you're earning as a node, from the 0.25% peg out fees. Peg in fees may even be, introduced at a certain point. Then you have cross-chain for like NFTs using the portals. That's like cross-chain metadata. And you earn off of that like 0.05% or $5, whichever is greater. And then on top of that, when you also earn the pNetwork DAO staking rewards. And if you co-own a pool, if you co-own a node with us and join a Perion pool, then you are opened up to a whole nother set of rewards as well. With the ION, as I mentioned earlier, where you take your ION, you could stake it into Perion DAO. You earn, staking rewards off of that. You earn governance power, and then you are exposed to our diverse asset pool inside of the Perion DAO. So, and then that's just on profit end. And now, if you're actually interested in, blockchain technology and supporting projects like pNetwork, who is trying to make, interoperable, system where all blockchains can be connected, which is extremely vital. If we want to see blockchain in the mainstream, then you want to own a node, and then it helps with the centralization of pNetwork. That helps add security to pNetwork. And then it also creates like a positive feedback loop, in a sense where when we add more nodes on the pNetwork, it adds more decentralization and security, which then in turn people will be more willing to add more value onto the network. So then when there's more value added onto the network, that means there's more transactions happening, which means more people are going to want to be nodes on the network. So you see this positive feedback loop that will occur. So yeah, I mean, there's many reasons why you should definitely own or co-own a pNetwork node.
Thanks, Jeremy. Yep. I wouldn't add anything. I think his explanation was really good. So in general, I want to remind everyone that pNetwork.watch, that maybe Alice, can you maybe like type it in the chat so people can see it? It's like a website that you can use to monitor data around the adoption of the network, volumes, users, and many other things. So there are a lot of metrics that you can use as a prospective node operator, for instance, to do your math and see, where the adoption is going, and how much you may earn from running a pNetwork node, for instance. So I think it's a very useful tool, especially considering that on the top right corner you can actually change the reference time span, and you can choose a different interval and see, you know, how things have evolved over time. And, you know, you can do your own projections basically and see where you know, things may be going. So it's definitely something interesting to spin up a node, especially now that the APY is so high. It may not always be that high, especially if a lot of new nodes join, right? Cool. So let's see if there are other questions that we can take.
Yeah, I copied here also a few questions from the Slido. So yeah.
Yeah, first maybe can we, since we just asked a question to Jeremy, I would ask him another one that I can see here from the questions users have asked so far. So one is from Danilo. He is asking if there is any way to basically contact you, Jeremy. So if there is any, like, a channel or a contact, like your Telegram handle or anything that he can use to reach you. And the second one from the same user is if there is any way to use the DAO and the Ethereum DAO without using MetaMask, for example, I guess using Wallet Connect or things like that.
So yeah, you can, my Telegram handle is Jeremy A. Klein, JeremyAKlein. That's my Telegram handle. So feel free to reach out to me. You want to answer the question about the wallet that they were asking about, if you could just use what, MetaMask?
No,
yeah.
The question is, so what, I mean, can I use Pirion and interact with Pirion without MetaMask? So with something like Wallet Connect, for example.
So yeah, I believe you can. Yeah, I believe you can use Wallet Connect. Yeah, I'm just I basically suggest that everyone uses MetaMask. But yeah, if you're having any trouble with the wallet, feel free to reach out to me and I'll help you out.
Perfect. Yeah, they're saying I'm a pro at XDAI, but not at MetaMask.
Okay.
Okay. So let's get another question. So I would say that's for you, Thomas, maybe. No, he disappeared. So let me ask one more to you, Jeremy. So
I saw you put my Telegram. It's Jeremy A. Klein, not just Jeremy Klein, right? Or no, sorry. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're right. I do have Jeremy Klein. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was the question?
Well, it's actually more of a statement. It's, has anyone noticed how in the last 30 days it made over 200K in fees, the network, despite the price fall of everything pretty much? So I guess that I will rephrase this into, so basically, what do you think about the correlation between usage and Pnt price? If there is any.
Is this question for me?
For anyone.
Yeah, anyone. I don't know. I mean, as for me, I mean, my opinion is that things, Pnt price is basically following, the market trends many times. I mean, especially when going down, right? We have seen the whole market has crashed in the last few weeks, and every time that the Bitcoin price goes down, all the rest follows and similarly goes down. So that's to be expected. It's nothing related to the growth of pNetwork or to anything like that. Indeed, we have seen that the total value locked has decreased in the last few weeks as a response to first the decrease, since we are tracking the total value locked in USD terms. this is sort of a direct consequence of the fact that the market has crashed in general. And second, because some users have panicked and maybe they have, you know, pegged out in part their Bitcoins or P tokens in order to sell them or things like that as a response to the market crash. So this is something very common. So in general, this leads to higher volumes, right? Because you do peg-ins and peg-outs. So the network doesn't really benefit, like PNT and the pNetwork don't really benefit directly from the total Verilog itself, but from the volumes. So if even with a relatively smaller total Verilog, the volumes may be higher if people continuously peg in and peg out, right? However, it's sort of reasonable to expect that a higher total Verilog may lead to higher volumes. So this is what you know, our what we are aiming for, what we want to achieve, right? Higher total Verilog and higher volumes. However, you know, price of PNT is not really, you know, connected in any way. I wouldn't say it's correlated with fees you can accrue, not just yet. But I expect it will be more and more in the future, especially if the project keeps growing. Like if volumes keep increasing, then it will be impossible to ignore it and to ignore the APYs that you know that you will have distributing the fees for those higher volumes. So of course it will make sense for everyone at some point to just buy PNT. Maybe you would like, maybe at some point you may want to short it to hedge against the price of PNT potentially going down for market trends or uncorrelated reasons, but you will want to have liquid PNT tokens in order to you know, spin up a node and to get a chunk of you know, those fees, since the APY should easily go up a lot with if volumes increase.
Yeah, makes sense.
Just to give an example, if currently the APY is say 130%, just to give a random like an example, and volumes double, for at the current size we have, doubling volumes is like something really easy. I mean, I think it's rather easy to achieve, and having twice the volumes we currently have for peg outs, for instance, will mean the APY is something like you know, 260%. So it's really high. And but you know, in order for if people buy PNT and spin up a node with 200,000 PNT as it currently is, for example, then what it would mean is that basically in a scenario where volumes are twice as much today's volumes, so they double, and the number and the APY stays the same, so it still stays at 130%. It would mean that you know, we get the double the number of nodes we have today. So if you so you either have 260% APY, which is just unreasonable, because I mean, this is fees are not accrued in PNT; they are accrued in you know, Bitcoin, Litecoin, and things like that. So if you have, as in a rational market, you expect to see like increasing volumes leading to an increase of number of nodes. With my example above that I have just made, you would need to see for the APYs to stay the same, like 11 new nodes. 11 new nodes means basically 2.2 million PNT tokens bought on the market to spin up a node. So this is what may push the price of PNT up eventually if volumes increase, right? Yeah. And of course, you know, as you know, everyone knows, those things are also driven by general acknowledgement from the community, so more visibility of the project, listing on new exchanges. I've seen there is a question around that.
There's always a question around that.
Yeah, there is always a question about listing and things like that. As we always say, we're not allowed to share anything in advance. But what I can surely say is that in the coming weeks, PNT will be listed on 2 major exchanges. I cannot name them, so please don't ask. But you know, we have worked a lot on those listings, and we keep working on new listings and things like that. Some exchanges just list by themselves. Some other cases, they want to collect material around the team, or they want to discuss co-marketing activities, things like that. So we are working on all that. We understand It's very important, especially for the community and for the acknowledgement of PNT and to make PNT more accessible, even to wider communities that may not, find it easy to buy PNT on Binance or on Bitfinex, right? Or on Uniswap. They may want to buy it somewhere else. So listing is important. We are working on it and we are delivering on it, as you will see in the next weeks.
I think also, well, a couple of questions that are interesting are, well, according to Thomas, does the community had enough discussion on the next proposal showed on the forum and in the Telegram groups? And like a related one is, did you have some feedback from active users of the groups? I did not find a clear orientation force to support or decline the proposal.
Yeah, sorry, it was muted. So, I mean, if you check the proposal on the forum, you will see that we have got some answers to the proposal, some feedback, and we got some also on Telegram groups from the community. So I would say that there has not been enough in the sense that I would like to see much more, and I think it's achievable. However, I know that many users, maybe because they're a bit lazy, they prefer to just share a very quick comment on Telegram. For example, on the forum, I don't remember how many messages were posted, but probably just one. While on Telegram, I received a lot of feedback, actually, much more. And I try to encourage people to go on the forum and post their answers there, just so that it's available to a wider audience and it's available in a format which is easier to digest than Telegram, right? So these are, in my opinion, the things we should encourage over time. I've seen also some ideas getting proposed, mostly on Telegram groups related to pNetwork, both official and unofficial ones. And again, I'm encouraging people to, start new forum proposals and things like that. And yeah, I mean, it's never enough in the sense that while the community grows, it's more and more important to always get a lot of feedback. So that proposals can be reiterated and made better and better over time. So I will never say feedback was enough. I would just say there was some feedback. We can always get more feedback, and this is what we should be aiming for as a community.
Also, I think that it may be that the feedback, I mean, the discussion that we start on the forum and the discussion that we start on the DAO maybe slightly different, in the sense that on the DAO, people, I mean, like the people who vote do actually have money at stake, while people on the forum may, for example, be users. So it may be a slightly different audience. And in general, I think it's worth hearing, the opinion of both and the feedback of both communities, because it impacts both. But in general, I mean, I think that we will never reach, enough feedback. But the more we get, the better.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's really like my point is supported even by the fact that just in this call, Jeremy and Danilo has shared feedback in favor, and these are two people, while on the forum we just have got one message. So we got more people answering live during the call than the ones that have posted on the forum. So everyone who is connected and that has an opinion that is already sort of consolidated, or even if you just have questions or you want to share some thoughts, everything helps. So you can just post on Discourse an answer, and it will be useful for anyone reading the proposal. But in general, if you don't want to do that, if you don't have time to do that, it's perfectly fine. And once especially if you are in favor and there is not much feedback against it, even in that case, I understand there is not a strong motivation to answer, right? Because you will say, okay, fine, it will be proposed as a vote in the DAO as it is, most likely, and I will vote in favor then. So I understand it. However, every little helps again, and I think spending a couple of minutes to post an answer is definitely worth it.
Agreed. So I will try to make the next few questions faster because we are already over time. But there's a question from YouTube. So Daniel is asking, the main objective of pNetwork is the bridges between chains. But is there another global projection accessible to the common public?
I'm not sure I understood the question.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that the question is, so we are currently focusing on the bridges, but is that the end goal? Or, I mean, what's the end goal? And
Well,
I guess,
yeah.
You can
Go ahead if you want to answer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my answer is, well, cross-chain communications. I think it's a very important piece of the puzzle within the blockchain ecosystem, in the sense that I see, like, I see blockchains as, you know, as we could see, for example, all of the cloud services. So we have Amazon Web Services, we have Azure, we have OVH, we have many, we have Google Cloud Engine. At the end, I mean, the end user, so whoever, you know, like goes on a website, they don't really care about where the server is hosted. So I think that in the long run, the direction where blockchain will go is basically having users, having mass adoption, and so that users don't really care about, you know, like what kind of blockchain is being used underneath. So if that's actually where we are going, then cross-chain communications and what pNetwork does is really crucial. And it's sort of like what Cloudflare does for the internet, right? So it makes, like, it basically abstracts out everything for the end user, and it makes all of these blockchains communicate. So I guess that, well, yes, in practice, we are focusing on creating more bridges. So like the day-to-day work is creating more bridges, creating more usage for the bridges, is expanding to NFTs. But in general, I mean, the actual goal of pNetwork is creating synergies between all of these blockchains in a very simple way for the end user, so that the end user doesn't need to bother about, you know, being on one chain or the other, or the fact that Bitcoin cannot be on Ethereum unless it is tokenized. So they just care about, you know, using whatever DeFi tool. So I think that pNetwork really helps in this.
Yeah, before focusing on the pNetwork, our main focus was about implementing an Oracle service, and we have done it since 2014. So it has been like almost 7 years now. And so we are very familiar with the concept of, you know, trying to break the barriers of each blockchain, because, you know, you want to reach out to an external wider context. And this is what the pNetwork is really about. It's about, as Alice was saying, basically interconnecting chains so much that basically you perceive them, you experience them as if they were just one simple blockchain, one unique whole big blockchain, but without seeing all this complexity. Like today, it's very technical, it's very complex. You see it in the form of bridges, but that's just you know, mean to an end, and the end is to obtain you know, something like one big interface for the blockchain world in general, right?
Okay, so let's get to the next question for Jeremy. So question regarding the pool. What is your advice about how much time to commit when users entering the pool? In general terms, staying in the pool give more advantages in longer term than a normal staking?
Yeah, so when you stake in the PNT node pool, it definitely has, you know, a lot better long-term value than, you know, normal staking initiatives, because for the most part as well, like any liquidity initiatives and stuff, they're not permanent. You know, you're creating liquidity, and those rewards will eventually you know, drop down depending on, you know, volume and stuff of people, you know, adding and things of that nature. And when you own a node, you're locking yourself into a spot where you're guaranteed to continue to earn. And this is like whether the price goes up or down. And it's definitely a really good long-term investment. So yeah.
Yeah, I was reading there's another question from YouTube from Daniel. Will the way of dissemination improve so that pNetwork has greater visibility in the rest of the countries different from Turkey, Italy, and the UK?
Well, those are definitely like the countries where we have most traction for PNT as a token. P tokens in general, I mean, from our metrics and the numbers we see and everything, they are much more widely spread to other kind of countries, even in Asia. For example, PBTC is very widely used on the EOS ecosystem by users from Asia, and there is a much more variance there, I would say. As for PNT itself, surely more listings and more visibility of the project, meaning, as we said before, the strategy is about increasing volumes to increase visibility of PNT and utility of PNT, and ultimately maybe even the price of PNT. Those things will lead to, more variability, more variance in the kind of community that we address and in the persona of the token holders, the countries they come from, and so on. Maybe we can pick one last question, Alice.
Yeah, I think that we have two, but they are sort of related. So the question is, so in regards to Binance partnership announced in January, cross-chain bridges, in what capacity is that currently implemented? And also, what is PNT's role in the upcoming NFT marketplace launching on Binance, considering that pNetwork has abilities to transfer assets and NFTs cross-chain?
Well, maybe I can answer. So as for the NFT part, we cannot share much. We are in discussion with several platforms, including that one. And, the role of portals and of the NFT bridge implemented by a specific portal is the one of being enabling any, complex interaction between blockchains, such as wrapping NFTs or, maybe splitting a DAO across different blockchains, things like that. However, the NFT bridge can really be used by anyone. They don't need our permission. They don't need a partnership with us. They can, they can just use it. And, on that front, I would just say, stay tuned. There is a lot we are working on, and you will see in the next few months the results of this. While as for the first one, again, I cannot go too much into the details, but something that you can expect to see is, for example, the direct withdrawal of the pNetwork powered PNT token, which is a P token indeed, straight from Binance to BSC, which I think is really important because, before it was using the Binance Bridge implementation, while now it will be using the pNetwork powered one. Also, we have seen with Telos, for example, that KuCoin, another big exchange, has listed the Telos token, just not on the Telos blockchain, but just their representation on Ethereum and BSC, which are basically P tokens. So the more we see exchanges such as KuCoin and Binance adopting P tokens as the standard way, to deposit and withdraw token representations from some chains, such as the Telos example or the PNT example on BSC, I think they better, because basically this encourages higher volumes and higher adoption of PNT, higher total value locked, and basically whoever does arbitrageurs, and people doing market making on Uniswap on like DEXs and things like that. In general, they need integrations with exchanges. So if they do it via P tokens and via P tokens integrations, we all benefit from it. So this is like something that I'm really excited to see happening, and that I'm looking forward to see expanding to other tokens and to other exchanges. Also, our integration with Bitfinex was the first one that sort of opened that path to a native integration with an exchange. Like on Bitfinex, for instance, you can deposit directly Bitcoins, Litecoins, and other tokens via their P-tokenized representation on EOS and Ethereum and so on. So you can just deposit one PBTC from Ethereum, and you get it on the exchange as a Bitcoin without slippage, without going by an order book. It's like a direct conversion, it's a direct integration. So things like that, no one has. Our competitors, no one of them has a native integration such as this with an exchange. So I think we have a sort of a track record for good and custom integrations with exchanges, such as with Bitfinex, with Binance, with KuCoin in the case of Telos and things like that. So this will just continue and keep growing, and it will drive the growth of adoption of the pNetwork for sure.
Great. I think that we answered everything, and it was a great chat. It was really nice to speak with everyone from the community. It was great to have you, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
Present Ethereum and share your opinion. So great. So stay tuned. Keep following pNetwork. Keep contributing to it. And yeah, let's speak on Telegram, I guess.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.